was chatting with a friend yesterday, and she asked me a question I've never been asked. The question she asked me was, what is the strangest way you ever picked up a client? After thinking, I had two stories to share with her, and it's so funny because the two stories have one thing in common, and that thing is my crazy voice. I learned at a young age that my voice was unique over other girls. I never got to crank call because everybody knew who I was. But back to my story. So the first thought that came to my mind was one time I was sitting at lunch with a friend of mine, Marianne, who had just passed her real estate test. And she wanted to go to lunch and pick my brain about real estate. So we were talking and laughing and having lunch. And somebody tapped me on my shoulder and said that their father had just passed away and they were actually in town shopping for a realtor. So thanks to my loud voice and the way that it carries across a room, I picked them up as a client. The next one came just recently. I was interviewing with a seller who was looking to sell his home that he had owned for 30 years. This seller was in his 90s and a little bit hard of hearing. When he selected me as his realtor, I knew I was competing with other agents for the listing, so I asked him, if you don't mind sharing, what made you choose me over the other agents? And he told me there was a lot of reasons, but the deciding factor was I was the easiest of all of them to hear. If only I could go back to that little girl who couldn't crank call with the other kids and tell her someday that voice will make you some money, just not in singing. Are you shopping for a realtor in the Sacramento and surrounding area? If so, give this loudmouth girl a try. I'm Megan LaHerrere, and I would love to talk to you today about your real estate goals.